Hello, everyone. It's End Times Talk, and I wanted to come at you with a video pertaining to propaganda in movies that I'm seeing that's definitely lining up. Um, for me, this is a bit alarming. This is something that jars me a little bit. They have this new show out there on HBO Max, and I'm not plugging the show at all, and I don't suggest Christians go watch this movie. Truth be told, I'm kind of an apocalyptic, movie and TV show enthusiast. Because I like to look for the programming and the propaganda that is jam packed in most of these movies and TV shows. Is the reason that I watch them once, to go through and just kind of analyze them. In this new episode of The Last of Us that's on HBO Max, it's something else, people. It's something else. They're talking about how, in the beginning of the show, they're discussing viruses and things like that, and this one scientist, basically starts to talk about how fungus can control people's minds. He starts to talk about, how, people, fungus is used to create specific drugs, and there's mushrooms that are funguses that people take as drugs, and it controls their mind. And he's not wrong in saying that. He's not wrong in saying that, and I'm definitely noticing some things line up here with some movies of the past that I think are important to acknowledge, especially in light of certain things that have happened, all right, to people. But anyways, the mind control propaganda that is in this new show, The Last of Us, is definitely there. It talks about a fungus taking over people's minds and turning them violent. Okay. And I've noticed this specific thing in other movies before, that there is things that take over people's minds and cause them to become violent. And they have this one movie back in the day, and I definitely don't recommend Christians go watching it. It's called Kingsman's Secret Service, and in that movie, and I'm just going to tell you what happens. It's rather graphic, but Christians need to know this stuff. God's people perish for lack of knowledge, and I want people to be well equipped as to what is being pushed in the movies. When you see multiple movies lining up with the same propaganda, there's something there. There's definitely something there. And in this movie, a man walks into a church, and they use a cell phone frequency to aggravate everybody, and everybody starts hurting each other. I mean, it blows my mind, people. It blows my mind that because everybody has a cell phone. All of a sudden people's cell phones started to go off, and people started attacking each other. All right. And also, you have a movie called Cell, that has Samuel L. Jackson in it and John Cusack. And in this movie, the same thing. People have their cell phones, and all of a sudden, a frequency starts to be played through the cell phones, and anybody that's using the phone in any way, shape, or form turns into this violent person that starts attacking people around them. And that's kind of the same thing. What's happening with this whole The Last of Us is that this fungus gets into people's minds and causes them to attack each other. And so I felt it very important to make a video about this, because I'm seeing these things line up from older movies to movies that aren't so old, and are just coming out in different TV shows and whatnot. I do know that this has graphene in it, and it aligns up with the 5G. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can use that and be able to send a frequency through that. Is what worries me. It's just, that's my theory on it. That's something that I've been thinking about. Is that, that because people's sight is magnetic, and you can literally stick a refrigerator magnet to it on some people. I have a friend that could do this. He sent me a video of it happening. You can look online, and there's people taking a magnet and putting it right on the site. And that's alarming to me, because they have these powerful 5G towers. And so I don't know if this is all lining up, but it's definitely alarming to me, and I think that my viewers should be aware of it. That there are these movies that interconnect with this same kind of propaganda. On a side note, with this whole situation with this new TV show, The Last of Us, it basically they have a walled in city, and I'm not trying to give out spoilers for people who are wanting to watch it. I don't, like I said, I don't suggest going and watching it if you're a Christian. It's not the best thing to watch, but nonetheless, some of us have to do research and we have to delve into things that others have a hard time with, so that way other Christians can be educated as to what to avoid. In this, as society collapses, there is a walled-in city, and I've noticed that as well with other movies like Divergent and Insurgent. These people are behind a walled-in city. Look at Hunger Games; they're behind a walled-in city. If you look at what Saudi Arabia wants to build, this miles and miles long city that's literally walled in. All right, and so there's a picture there that's forming now. I'm not saying anything against Trump at all, because I could care less either way. I'm not for Trump. I'm not against Trump. I don't think he's a bad guy, but I don't agree with everything that he does. But when he built that wall, they passed the laws that they needed to pass in order to cause cities to be walled in too. I mean, read the fine print there, people. Read the fine print there, and even the left, after Trump left, the left has come in and continued to build that wall, even though it's an open border. So it just goes to show that this is more about control in the gathering up of people into metropolitan areas where they can be controlled easier. Um, you know, uh, uh, Anybody that in this movie or in this TV show, The Last of Us, anybody that was infected was given this, and it takes them out. It takes them out. So if you're infected with that fungus, you're given this, and they show that, and it takes them out. And then they burn the bodies within these walled in cities. As something I also noticed, that it was very dystopian. In this walled-in city, there was definitely a clamp down, a martial law that was in place, and there was public executions on people that would try to escape the city. And there was a new currency in the city. There was a whole new type of money, and there was also, you had the revolutionaries, uh, uh, and it just reminded me of those people that or they had these revolutionaries that were trying to fight the infection, and they were trying to find a cure. But anyways, they have these people that are just walled in, and it reminds me a lot of that movie, Ready Player One. Where they want you in this metaverse. They want these goggles on you. They want you brainwashed. They want you focused on technology. And I noticed in that movie, Ready Player One, that's kind of a metaverse, all right. But if you look at society, it was completely poverty stricken, run down, poverty stricken. It was a Great Depression for sure in that movie that was made by Steven Spielberg. And I just see a lot of these things lining up. They're telling us what they're going to do to us with movies and media. I think the movie is called Songbird, where it was literally a movie about the pandemic, but it was also a movie about future pandemics, and how that this thing would snowball and basically become, to a point where you had to have like a medical ID to be able to even go outside and do anything. Otherwise, you were locked down, and you were locked down, and the only communication people have was through technology like this, where people were skyping and things like that to talk to each other, and there were only certain people who were this that were allowed to go out and do anything. And so there's definitely a picture they're showing us here of what society is going to be like, and I do believe it could become that by 2030. They do have this agenda 2030 that the World Economic Forum is cooking up, and clown swab, and It's interesting though. They have changed their lingo a lot. They keep changing their lingo, and that's something that I've noticed is that you have had this group called the Trilateral Commission, which was basically the Illuminati, making moves and making plays in politics under 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 the guise and under the shadow of their organization, so that way they don't take the fall for what they're doing. Anyways, it's kind of snowball. It went from like the Club of Rome and the United Nations to the Trilateral Commission to the Bilderberg Group, and now to the World Economic Forum. It's like they keep changing the names of things, and within each of these organizations, they keep change. They went from the New Deal to the New World Order, and now it's the Great Reset, and now they're rebranding it as well. The new plan, the new idea, and so they keep rebranding it because they want to keep people in the dark from what they're doing. They don't. Oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. That's just a conspiracy theory. Well, it's not a conspiracy theory, folks. I mean, we're headed towards something most definitely, and there's gonna be something that they do that causes this to become something. It's going to become a reality. Clown Swab says, you will own nothing, you will have nothing, and you will like it. And that's exactly what was happening in Ready Player One, where everybody was so poverty stricken that they'd rather be in the metaverse than in reality. And that's what they want. They want to make life so difficult, all right, that you would rather be in technology than be in reality. And that's kind of the premise that's kind of I'm seeing in this new show, The Last of Us, is it's very poverty stricken, very run down. They don't have much, and they're working for peanuts basically. And the Bible tells us that a day's wages will buy a loaf of bread, sort of a situation in the Great Tribulation. And I do know that they want to implement this stuff by the year 2030. They want to have a central bank digital currency in place by the year 2030. They want to have the Great Reset done and over with by the year 2030. Clown Swab and his goons, they basically have said within the next 2 years there's going to be this comprehensive cyber attack that they've been warning about. And so they really want to shut down the power grid. And I think it'll be temporary, but I think it's going to be a little bit longer than what people think it's going to be when the power does go out and we go into the dark. I don't know if it's going to be a year or 2 years or 3 years. I don't know, but all I know is that they want to bring the world to their knees. They want to wear us out. They want to exhaust us. They want to exhaust us financially. They want to exhaust us politically. They want to exhaust us religiously. They want to exhaust us economically. They want to exhaust us mentally and spiritually and physically. I mean, they're throwing everything at us that they can because they want to wear us out, so that way the world cries out for a world leader that has all the answers to all these problems that they're creating. This is a self-inflicted wound that the WEF is doing to the world, and people are sick of it. I guess the leader of the internet, Elon Musk, has come out in opposition to the World Economic Forum, and just because he's finally stepping up and saying, "Oh, people don't want this," 88% of the people on his poll that he did on Twitter, said they don't want the World Economic Forum making political and global decisions. It's ridiculous, and so I don't agree with Elon Musk at all, but I definitely agree with the people that disagree with the World Economic Forum. I think these are a bunch of clowns, like Klaus Schwab or whatever. I call him Clown Swab, but he's a big joke. He's got a real skinny body and a real fat neck. If you ask me, he's got a real big head on his shoulders, and he thinks he's something, and he's been trained by the best of the Illuminati to go forward with this plan. They want fall guys leading up all the way to the Antichrist. They want people to blame things on, so that way when things get bad and get tough, and people, maybe there's a lynch mob that rises up, they go after these rich and these elite, like Dollar Gates and Clown Swab, and the who they call the good doctor, Mr. Fauci there. All these people are a big joke, and they're going to take the fall for what the Illuminati and what the synagogue of Satan is doing to the world. and there's gonna be a recompense, over the situation. I can guarantee you. The world's getting sick of all this, and they're getting impatient with incompetent leaders, and that's part of the Illuminati plan, is to keep bringing you incompetent leaders, people that keep throwing you to the wolves, that don't care about you, that don't care about your family. We have to stick close to Jesus in these times. These are dire times that we're in. They're very serious, and I don't mean to get on here and just talk about movies and TV and stuff like that, but something I was told by my friend who's ex-Illuminati. His name's Joseph Marquis, and he told me a long time ago. I asked him personally in a phone conversation. I said, "How many Illuminati are there out there?" And he said there are millions of them, millions of them. All right, and he said they have to be able to communicate with each other and warn each other of what their plans are, and these people know how to decipher their own codes. Okay, and he said they use movies. He says they use music videos. He said they use television. He said they use symbolism on the money. He said they use even down to the Illuminati card game that Steve Jackson Games had developed, and it has been rebranded quite a few times. I mean, I'll get into a video about the Illuminati card game. I plan on making a video all about it, telling you the ins and outs of the Illuminati card game here soon. In the comment description, let me know if you guys even want a video explaining the history of the Illuminati card game, where it comes from, how it became to be, and how some people believe it's borderline self-fulfilling prophecy. And there's a lot that I know about it that most people aren't sharing on the internet, but I don't want to offend people and make people think that I'm into the occult, that I even care about the stuff. I just am paying attention to the signs that are all around me. We have to be as wise as serpents, but as harmless as doves. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I want to educate you fine people, my brothers and sisters in Christ Jesus, on what to look for and how to know what's truth and what's not, and the symbolism that's being pushed, and the agenda that's being pushed, and the propaganda that's being pushed. I do believe in the future they have a plan to try to take over the mind of man and cause us to attack each other. So we need Jesus in our hearts, and we have to be self-aware of this subliminal content propagation of our minds, so that way we don't fall to what is coming. You know what I'm saying? It says that there would be things that were, the situations would be so dire and so believable that it would deceive even the very elect. You see what I'm saying? And so I want to make sure that the people that watch my show are well aware of what's going on, and are educated and know the ins and outs of this labyrinth that we're in right now. I don't want people to go down the rabbit hole. I've been down the rabbit hole. I've done all this research for so long that I've gone down so many rabbit holes that are endless trails that lead you nowhere. And I can point you in the right direction on the things to look for, to watch for, and I've been trained to do so by my friend who's ex-Illuminati. He's shown me a lot of different things on what to look for and how to look for them. And there's certain ways to look at things, and I'd like to educate you fine people, but I also don't want to make people feel like I'm trying to push something on them that they don't want to hear as well. And that's why I'd like you to leave in the comment description how you feel about this. I would love some feedback from my subscribers and my viewers. But nonetheless, if there's a good response, and everybody is on board with that, here in the next day or two, I'll make a video on the Illuminati card game, and kind of what to look for, and show you the calling cards and things like that these people use and how they operate. It's not hard to understand. It's not hard to understand, but there definitely is a small crash course in that people do need to understand in order to maneuver through this minefield that we're in. We're in very dangerous times, very perilous times. Jesus said there would be distress of nations with perplexity, with the sea and the waves roaring. He said that nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, that there would be famine and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. But when we see all these things, this is just the beginning, people. This is just the beginning. People think that we're already in the tribulation. And one thing I got to share to my subscribers is I do not think we're in the tribulation yet, or the great tribulation yet. We might be going through tribulation, like hard times, but we're not in the great tribulation yet. This is nothing compared to what it's going to be, folks. It's nothing. It says in the Bible that men's hearts will fail them for fear of what's coming upon the earth. And so I want you guys to be prepared and equipped for the days ahead. I absolutely love you guys, and that's why I'm here warning you guys. I'm not trying to be a fear monger. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prepare you. Times are going to get rough before they get better. The rapture is coming, but we have to weather this storm that we're going through. We all feel the storm rolling in, and we hear the distant thunders, but we got to stand up and we got to stick close to Jesus in these times. He is all we have. He's the only truth that we have in these great times of darkness and deception. All right, and Jesus said that the end cannot come let there be except there be a falling away first. All right, he said that the word of God needs to be preached unto all nations, and then the end shall come. And so I am doing my part here to preach the gospel to you guys, to encourage you guys. We got plenty of videos that are encouraging, but not all the time is it going to be a feel good message. If people want a feel good message, they need to just roll over to Joel Osteen's YouTube there and sign up, because it isn't always going to be a feel good message here. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm trying to prepare people and get people equipped well for what's coming. You can't always just depend on materialism to save you. You can't depend on some stockpile of food or some, treasure trove of gold and silver or this and that. You have to have this equipped. You have to have this equipped and your spirit equipped for what's coming ahead, because perilous times are coming and they're here. So I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in once again and watching this video. May God bless you all, and may God keep you through these times.